On today's show, Klay Thompson has been everything the Dallas Mavericks would have wanted in a vet, but what's his future with the Mavericks? Got that and some more in today's Locked On Mavs.
This is Cooper Flagg, and you're listening to Locked On Mavs.
Nick, that's a good question.
Good morning, Isaac. All these changes, I still got my dog Dwight Powell.
Your daily Dallas Mavericks podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Still can't leave.
Your team every day.
I'm going to get a city like that.
And welcome. You're Locked On to the Dallas Mavericks, your team every day. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member covering the Mavs for over 10 years. Thanks for being in every day or making Locked On Mavs your first listen to the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network out there. Today's episode, we're going to get into some woes and oh-nos, some really good things happening with the Mavericks that not a lot of people are talking about, and some bad things on the Mavericks that nobody's talking about. It's going to be a challenge to find bad things no one is talking about because they feel like everybody's talking about all the bad things. And to do that with me today, I've got Noah Weber. He's a Mavs reporter and is site expert at the Smoking Cuban for Fansided. Noah, what you got for me today?
Man, I'm just preparing for this Luka return game, but Dalaska is coming at the absolute worst time, so it'll be an interesting couple days.
Yeah, the ice storm is starting to descend upon us. I think Friday we're going to get like some wintry mix, and then Saturday when the Mavs against the Lakers, Mavs home game, Luka comes back again. Just the second time he's been back here. That's going to happen. There's going to be snow. We might get I saw up to 6 inches of snow, which would just decimate, I don't know, the economy of all of DFW. Like, it would just take us all out.
Yeah, HEB's already cleared out, man. Everyone's grabbing the milk and the eggs.
If you haven't got, if you haven't got milk and eggs at this point, go vegan, like change your eating habits for the next like 48 hours or something. All right, Noah, let's get into our first one. So we're doing woes and oh-nos. This is a new segment I've come up with where we talk about anything positive or surprising, a development that not a lot of people are talking about, or we talk about anything negative, a concerning or disappointing thing that not a lot of people have talked about. My first one is a woe. It's Klay Thompson. He's really found his stroke coming off the bench, and he has been kind of a slow starter in his career. This is not like a surprising thing that Klay would have a really like slow start and then all of a sudden start hitting his stride here, but first 16 games of the season, he's averaging about 9 points, only 30% on threes, 7.4 attempts per game. He's had 8 starts, 21 minutes a game. And like, this is where all the washed or the, he's done conversation was happening from some people. And you're like, oh, well, then there's graphics of Klay Thompson, the amount of missed threes he's had this season and the percentage and all that. But then last 25 games, which is a bigger sample size than the first one, last 25 games, he's at 13.7 points per game, 43%, so 42.6, almost 43% on three, on 8 attempts per game. He hasn't started a single game, but he's playing more minutes, 21 and a half minutes a game. Klay Thompson coming off the bench, and I'm going to add another angle to this one. Klay Thompson shooting well is great, but Klay Thompson accepting the role coming off of the bench, Klay Thompson accepting his role of being a vet for all these guys. Like, he had a quote recently where he said, man, it's awesome. They just listen to me. Anything I say, this group just listens to me. Like, him embracing that role of being a vet, not complaining about anything, not having any issues with, coming off the bench, or at least publicly he hasn't that I've seen. And I think that this version of Klay Thompson has been so great. I'm not sure what his future is on the Mavericks, but if we're highlighting good things, that's my #1 right now.
Yeah, when you told me about this segment before the show, literally one of my notes was Klay is playing out of his mind. Because, it's true. He came here to be a shooter. He obviously came to play with Luka. That's not what he's getting right now. But as you said, he's accepting this role off the bench. And of course, who wouldn't want to start? But he's a veteran at this point in his career. We saw how things went when he didn't accept coming off the bench in Golden State.
Right.
Now he's fully embraced that. And one thing that people aren't talking about enough with Klay either is that he's been extremely durable since arriving in Dallas. He doesn't miss many games. He's always in the lineup, and especially recently, he looks so confident, multiple feet beyond the arc. He has really good chemistry with Dallas's guards, and he's just giving them exactly what they need because, as you know, Dallas's shooting has been pretty abysmal for most of the season outside the last 5 games or so. But Klay has been one of the only signs of consistency along with Max Christie, and there are 2 sides of this coin. There's one side of the coin where the Mavericks don't have their pick next season and they need to be a contender and push for the playoffs. And Klay could be a massive piece in that because if they traded him, their shooting would sink once again. But on the other side, they could trade him because he's playing his best basketball of his career. He's got this year and next year on his contract, and some contender could be willing to give up some expiring contracts, maybe some draft capital. I mean, they're in a little bit of a tough spot with Klay Thompson because the team loves him, the fans love him, but who knows if his value is ever going to be this high again because, as you said, he started slow, which he's notorious for, but he's playing out of his mind right now. This is the type of Klay Thompson that could turn the tide of a playoff game for a contender.
Yeah, I mean, you watch him in that game, you know, that game the other night where he was just going off. Both Utah games, honestly, but definitely the first one. We had 26 points, he hit 6 threes, and he hit his first like 6 of 8, right? He was just like going off, and you were in the building. Like, there's nothing that crowd loves more than a Klay Thompson 3 and then another Klay Thompson 3 right after that.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest crowd pops because I think everyone kind of holds their breath when he shoots it just because they know that it's a top 5 NBA three-point shooter of all time, letting it fly, and he's become a fan favorite here. Obviously, Klay heaters are one of the most fun. I will never forget, even in Klay's first game as a Maverick, when Luka was feeding him the rock and just how loud it was when he'd be draining threes from the wing. So watching Klay has been super fun. And yeah, as you said, he's been shooting it extremely well recently.
Klay is like on the list of players to me that it just depends on the price. If they could get like salary relief for next year and any kind of draft capital, I'm even talking about like I would take a couple seconds probably because the Mavs could use a boost in those too, but they really need that salary relief for next season if they're not going to trade Anthony Davis. They may do it in the offseason still, but he's on that list to me where it's like, all right, if you get the right deal, you do it. But I don't know if I'm just like giving up on Klay Thompson just because I need to clear salary cap space, right?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't give up on him just to clear salary cap because at the end of the day, there's other players that they can use to go in that direction. And he's gonna, if they keep him, he will be a key piece in them trying to get back into the playoffs. Because one thing, actually, I need to save that for my oh no. I was about to dive into something, but I'm saving it. I'm saving it for the oh no.
All right, save it. All right, give me one of your woes.
So one of my woes is that Caleb Martin looks like a rotation player. He's finally starting to turn it on. I actually wrote about this earlier today because as anyone who covers the team or watches the Mavericks consistently knows, Caleb Martin's start in Dallas was nowhere near to what anyone expected or wanted. Of course, fans were, upset at the time when Grimes was swapped for Martin, but I don't think anyone could have expected it to be that bad. The Mavericks valued Martin higher than they did Grimes. They gave up a second-round pick, and the only reason that they got one back in the deal is because of the debacle with the physical, and we don't need to go in there. But Caleb Martin, he's starting to play with confidence. His three-point jumper is starting to fall a little bit. He's not going to be a knockdown shooter by any means, but at least he's not jab stepping or having his, because he seems to always have his foot on the line. He looked really hesitant to shoot towards the beginning of the year, but now he's starting to let it fly with confidence a little bit. And he's had some nice finishes in transition or attacking a closeout too, where I've kind of said, okay, he looks like someone who can play 15, 20 minutes a night off the bench and guard the other team's best player and bring some energy.
Yeah, first, 33 games of this season, he played like 334 minutes. He took 15 threes and he only made 2 of them. Last 4 games, he's taken 5, 6, 7, 8 threes, and he's made 3 of them. That's not like a great percentage, but that's still like at least he's taking them now. And that to me is the sign of what you said of the confidence. You see him start to build that confidence again. And he was not an NBA rotation player at all, like not playing to that level at all to begin this season. And I was like, man, that is one of the worst contracts the Mavs have, is because it's a couple more years still. It's like close to 10 million, or it's gonna be 10 million next year. And there's just nothing on an NBA court he could do. But seeing him guard the last couple of nights, like seeing him guard Brunson in that Knicks game the other night, seeing him guard Keontae George, seeing him guard Jamal Murray, like the Mavs have needed a guy like that. And I was high on him coming into the season because I thought, well, if anything, they'll use him as a defender. Maybe his 3-point shot will come back a little here and there because it's not going to be as bad as 25% last year when he joined the Mavericks. And it was actually worse than that to begin the season. It was like even worse than we could have expected, like you said.
Yeah, it was really hard to watch, even before games, even going through his pregame workout. I mean, you could watch, and I mean, he did not seem confident at all. And I mean, of course, that's frustrating going through a slump like that, especially when it's been this long. And he's finally starting to come along. And as you mentioned, the fact that he's willing to shoot these shots is promising, because if you're not willing to even take them, you're not going to be a shooter. That's when you really, really start to see that dip. And that's why he started so bad at the beginning of this season, because if you're not even willing to take them, when you do take them, they're not going down, because you've got to have some sort of rhythm, unless you're one of the best bench shooters in the NBA, those type of spark plug guys. And that's obviously not what he is. But yeah, as you said, he's in year 2 of a 4-year, $35 million deal. He has this year, next year, and the following year with a player option, which of course he's going to opt into with how he's been playing. So the Mavs they're definitely in a tough spot, but the fact that he looks like a rotation player is promising. And if I had to assume, they wouldn't be against tacking him into some sort of bigger trade if they had the opportunity to, because that contract is looking pretty brutal when you're looking to build around a 19-year-old.
Coming up, I have one concern about Cooper Flagg fitting with PJ Washington. We'll talk about that and more coming up. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by Quo. New year, new systems, and this is the time to figure out, we've got to try and streamline all this. We've got to try to make it better. We've got to try and make everything more efficient for our business, because if you're not becoming more efficient every single day, you could be losing out. There's got to be a better way, is what so many small business owners have probably told themselves. Streamlining your communication is one of the quickest ways that you can make that happen. That's why today's episode is brought to you by Quo, Q-U-O. Smarter way to run your business communication, because when your team is reachable, organized, and communicating all in one place, you're not just working cleaner, you're creating more opportunities to connect with customers. This is how it works. Your whole team can call and text from one shared business number, so nothing gets missed at all, which is awesome. Gone are the days of like the voicemail on the front desk counter. Like you can now do this all just from Quo. Works straight from your computer or your phone. You can even keep your existing number, which is awesome. And Quo's smart AI tools automatically log calls, summarize conversations, and highlight next steps. The details never slip through the cracks. Make this the year where no opportunity and no customers slip away. Try Quo for free and get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/lockedonnba. That's QUO.com/lockedonnba. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad. That's what we call our listeners, listening every single day. Appreciate you for checking out the show. We've got the Everydayer Club. You can get ad-free episodes of this show if you subscribe to the Everydayer Club. You also get access to our Discord and all kinds of other cool things too. So subscribe to the Everydayer Club. And right now we're getting beat by the Blazers show in Everydayer Club subscriptions. And I don't like, they're not as fun as what's happening over here, right? Can't imagine. Can't imagine. All right, here I got Noah Weber from Smoking Cuban. And we're talking about woes and oh-nos. Good developments happening in the Mavericks and bad developments happening in the Mavericks. And my first oh-no I want to share is Flagg and PJ Washington sharing the floor together. This has gotten brought up a bunch of times in comments. Why aren't you talking about this? Why aren't you talking about this? All right, now I'm going to talk about it. I was willing to wait and see what happens, wait to give them some time. But here are some numbers, and it just doesn't look like there's really a connection there yet. And this was a combo that I was really excited about, especially with Lively, and especially in the preseason, the beginning of the season. I thought this Lively, PJ, like Cooper Flagg trio looked really good, looked really fast, looked like they could actually get up and down the floor, looked like they could defend really well. But there's something about this Flagg and PJ duo that's just not working. The Mavs overall this season have a negative 2.7 net rating. Makes sense. Their offense is 111.1, not good. Their defense is 113.8. That's kind of fine. With Flagg and PJ both on the court together, their net rating drops from like -3 to -9. They're getting beat by 9 points per 100 possessions, which is just bad. Their offense completely falls off a cliff. It goes to 106.5. That's just not an NBA offense. Like that's really bad. What is it? It's 4th percentile. Not 100 percentile is the best. 4th percentile is like so awful. I don't know I'm not really sure what is happening between those two. The one thing I can say, they've played a lot in those starting lineups, especially those starting lineups without a point guard. And those lineups just have not been able to create any kind of functional NBA offense at all, where like the quote unquote Flagg is the point guard or Naji Marshall is the point guard or whatever you want to say. But they've mostly played together in those lineups. And so maybe there's something there. Obviously, we've had a lot of injuries where PJ's in and out of the lineup. Obviously, Anthony Davis has been in and out of those lineups. But there's something about this Flagg PJ Washington combo that just doesn't seem to be fully working right now.
Yeah, it's really hard, especially with how the Mavericks three-point shooting already is. It's really hard to pair two non-shooting forwards with a rim rolling big. like a Davis who's a non-shooter or a Daniel Gafford. Obviously, there have been so many injuries, but that was honestly one of my oh-nos too, is the PJ and the Flagg fit, because yeah, it hasn't looked as promising as a lot of people thought, because as you know, during Flagg's pre-draft workout, PJ Washington was in the gym. He's watching from the sides and he's talking with Nico, and Nico's asking him if he thinks they can fit together. And he's like, absolutely. And unfortunately, the doubts that they might not work out together, both being kind of those true power forwards wings, it's kind of coming to fruition. And PJ's struggles from downtown, I think, have really hindered him this season. Of course, at the beginning of the year, he was the Mavericks' best player. He was playing out of his mind. Like, I even had someone in the gym ask me if I thought PJ should be an all-star, like probably not all-star level, but he was the best player for the Mavs. Like, there was a whole lot to be excited about. And now, of course, he still seems to be battling that ankle injury from when he stepped on basketball. And even when he is on the court, especially recently, his three-point jumper just has not been it. It was better last year, and that was kind of a big X factor, because in his first season in Dallas, before they went to the finals, his three-point shooting was down. Last season, it was outstanding, I believe, about at that 38% mark. And now it has regressed once again. He's shooting 31% from downtown. And when you pair that with Flagg, who's shooting sub 30% from three, that's just going to be a hard fit as it is.
Yeah, the three-point shooting has really hurt them. The lack of, like, I think playmakers setting them up. I mean, obviously PJ benefited from those Luka Doncic like three-point shots that he created, the gravity. There's not been really a player that PJ's whole thing that I was so excited about when he was going to play with Kyrie, like when Klay was getting brought in. So the lineup with Luka, Kyrie, Klay, Dereck Lively was like, man, PJ's going to get so many open shots because they're going to be worried about the gravity of Klay's shooting, the gravity of Lively rolling, the gravity of Luka and Kyrie, obviously. And then PJ, he's going to get like the fifth worst defender on any given night, right? And so he's going to get so many opportunities. Then you switch to a lineup where there's not really a rim roller, or if it is, it's Anthony Davis, who has not been playing at his best this season. Then it's no point guard at all. Then it's barely any shooting. So you're like, okay, well, now he's just trying to create opportunities out of nothing, which is not really what PJ Washington does best either. And just ban ankle injuries from the Mavericks, because between him and Gafford, who's, spoiler, is one of my other knows, it's like they've just struggled so much. And it just seems like those ankles just keep giving them problems. And now Cooper Flagg is now has had a couple of ankle injuries for the Mavs too and missed some games. But yeah, that was my first. Oh no, give me one of yours.
Okay, let's see which one I'd like to go with. So I was going to go with Gafford as well, but we're not going to do that. And this is a bit.
You can do that one. Do that one.
Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think Daniel Gafford's regression this season is something that hasn't been talked about enough, just because there are so many other kind of bad things that can be talked about, and he's been in and out of the lineup. But his season started on the wrong track immediately when he got hurt in the first day of training camp. And I mean, ever since that moment, he has not looked like the same Gafford that Mavericks fans are accustomed to, because after he was traded to the Mavericks there in 2024 and last season, he was outstanding. I mean, screaming at the crowd, blocking shots, catching lobs, just being a force down low. I mean, he was one of the better finishers on the team, like even better than Lively. Like, if he catches the ball down around the bucket, I mean, it's almost a finish every single time. I mean, he almost broke Wilt Chamberlain's record for consecutive field goals without a miss. Like, that's crazy. He was outstanding at first. And this season, he's looked like a shell of himself. This ankle injury has obviously stripped him of his explosiveness. His numbers are way down as well. He's only averaging 7.8 points per game and 6.5 rebounds. So obviously he's not playing as well as he usually is. His also 1.3 blocks per game is tied for a career low. It's a major drop off from the 1.8 blocks he was averaging last year, or even the 2.1 that he was averaging the year that Dallas made the final. So obviously he has not been the same player. And even when he is in the lineup, when his ankle is ready to grow, he doesn't look the same at all. And if you watch, because every single game I go down by the tunnel and I get the same video every single time. I get them walking off the court and I say, whatever, Mavericks head to the locker room after a victory over the Warriors or something along those lines. And a lot of times he's limping, he's wincing. Like, he's putting his all out there with this ankle injury, but it obviously hasn't healed if he keeps retweaking it and having to get sidelined.
Career low field goal percentage, just about 63%, which is not good. Offensive, and you're like, oh, his career low, second lowest usage percentage too. It's at 14.6%. It was 19.5 last season. That's a big drop right there. And he is, again, another one that has struggled with the Mavs not having good point guard play. I mean, him and PJ, it was perfect when they were playing with Luka. It made a lot of sense. But with Gafford, it's not just that he's not playing with point guard either, because second lowest career offensive rebound rate. His defensive rebounding rate's the highest of his career, so that's good. But he's not getting any offensive rebounds at all. And his turnover rate, it's the highest of his career, almost 19% turnover rate. And it was only 12 last year. I mean, the numbers have just gone completely the wrong direction in almost every category for him. And the ankles is one thing too, but the ankles, it's between the ankles and the point guard, like the Mavs' lack of point guard play, I think it's just really hurt him in so many different areas on the game. So I think this is a good oh no. Coming up, two-way guys, I think have been a bright spot for the Dallas Mavericks. That's kind of a whoa and an oh no at the same time. Let's talk about that and more. Come on. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by TurboTax. Tax season doesn't have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things over and move on with your day. We all have too much stuff to do all the time. We got to prep. We got to go buy weird food that isn't in tubs, so that in case you can't eat anything during the winter storm, you've got something. With TurboTax full service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without the stress or the guesswork. So you can drop it off at TurboTax. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. They handle everything from W-2s to self-employed forms and work to get you every deduction that you could get. Go check it out. For a limited time, you can get your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in. If a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year, just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
All right, Noah, let's get into some more woes and oh-nos, some good developments, some bad developments for the Dallas Mavericks. And one of mine, it's kind of a news angle today. It's going to be Moussa Cisse. He's just blocking everything. Moussa Cisse, the two-way player for the Dallas Mavericks. This is a stat posted by our friend Jimmy of All Things Mavs earlier today, is 55th in the NBA in blocks with 30 block shots this season. He's only played 296 total minutes this year. Every other player in the top 70 of blocks has at least 470 minutes played. So Moussa has 30 in 296 minutes. Everybody else in the top 70 has at least 470 minutes. He said this is the second most blocks by a player that has played under 300 minutes. Zach Edey has 21 in 284 minutes. So Moussa has just blocked everything. He's impressed me. I think this is a good development play for the Dallas Mavericks, but it looks like they're gonna keep him around and not have him as a two-way for much longer, Noah.
Yeah, so I'm sure that most people watching now have seen kind of the Stein report that they're actually looking into converting his two-way to a standard deal. Of course, they know that they're looking to do that with Nembhard, but the quote from Stein today was that, quote, "My read is that the Mavericks, on top of their ongoing trade explorations, are searching for the same pathways to create the needed roster room for converting Nembhard and Cisse. Ever since Nembhard's breakout, we kind of knew that Dallas was looking to convert his two-way to a standard deal as soon as possible. And this was something that I'd kind of been eyeing for Cisse for a while now, because one storyline that did not get talked about at all is that Coach Kidd was burning through Cisse's two-way eligibility, and no one was talking about it. Like, he has 13 games that he can be active left in, and he had more than 10 games being a DNP CD. Like, we learned last year that these two-way guys, with how the Mavs injury luck is, if you're suited up, if you have that shooting shirt on and the sweats on, you need to be playing at least a little bit. And Coach Kidd was he was using up a lot of his two-way eligibility with some DNP CDs. And I'm kind of like, what's going on here? He's really impactful in his minutes, but his two-way eligibility is going to be gone before we know it. And now we know that they're at least looking for a way to convert both Cisse and Nembhard.
Yeah, to put that in perspective, so two-way players have 50 games of eligibility. They can be active. It's not just appeared in, right? Because Cisse hasn't appeared in 37 games yet, but he's been active 37 games, and so they only have 13 left. It's the same as Ryan Nembhard. He's played in 37. He's been active in 37 games. That's 13 left, and we knew the Mavs were looking at how to make Ryan Nembhard, a standard contract, but it's good that they're also looking at Moussa Cisse. I think that's a solid thing too. And yeah, Kid was burning through all these games with him. And I guess he thought that they'd be healthier, and they had 3 centers that all should get time, and that was going to be the problem was going to be they had too many centers and couldn't find any room for any of these guys, and now they have a two-way guy that's running out of room. This was going to be one of my oh-no's, so we can just go back and forth now. But yeah, only 13 games left for both Nembhard and Moussa as far as a two-way guy left, and that would take them to like February 22nd. That's like right after the All-Star break, really. And so there's like 2 months left of the season that these guys can't play if they play all the rest of these games throughout the rest of the season. Miles Kelly has 38 left in his season. The Mavs have 38 games left, so that's perfect. He's gonna play the whole rest of the year probably for the Mavericks. But yeah, these two guys, it makes sense that they're trying to make room for them because they've both been impactful. Both Ryan Nembhard and Moussa have been.
Yeah, Moussa has been incredible because he was one of my woes as well. I mean, he looks like someone who could stick around long term. Just his energy, his motor. I could see him as someone that could come off the bench behind Lively for years to come. I mean, per 36 minutes, he's averaging 3.6 blocks per game. To put this in context, and this is a hard stat to pull just because it's a little bit smaller of a sample size and he's playing not that much minutes, but Anthony Davis has never averaged over 3 blocks per game per 36 minutes. That shows how impactful that he is in his minutes. I mean, every time he steps on the floor, it's like a bull just running through he runs the floor as hard as he can.
Yeah.
He's starting to catch some lobs in transition, which are looking nice too. I think that one thing that he has kind of needed to work on is his play in the pick and roll as well. But last game you saw he was setting some solid screens, and when he catches it down low, he doesn't freak out or turn the ball over as much anymore. He can put it one time on the deck and dunk it and just scream at the crowd. Like, his energy has been incredible. Like, arguably he's been more impactful than Daniel Gafford during his minutes. I mean, just watch how much energy he brings. Like, not many guys at the beginning of this year when the vibes were low, he was one of the few guys on the team that was bringing outstanding energy. And just as a culture guy, he's excellent. And I think the Mavericks have 3 rookies that could be a part of their core moving forward as they try to go chase a title with Cooper Flagg as their head of the snake.
I'm not worried about them trying to figure out a standard contract for both Nembhard and Cisse, but it is going to mean moves. I mean, they've got guys at the end of their bench that just aren't giving them anything. And in Dante Exum's contract, Jaden Hardy's contract, obviously the guys that are hurt between Lively and Kyrie, like I'm not worried about those as far as contracts. But give me anything else. You got woes or oh no's?
Okay, let's go see which my favorite one is.
You looked around the room. I thought you were looking to say, all right, this is a secret. Like, I don't know.
I'll say that I think something that we should dive into. I mean, there's not a whole lot there, but the D'Lo situation is kind of crazy. I mean, he's either been.
You want to talk about contracts that aren't being used right now?
Especially when you look at he has a player option after this season, I think for around $6 million, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in that range. And yeah, he is not playing at all. Like, it's weird. Like, the Mavs could be getting blown out. Like, there was a game recently where they were getting blown out and everyone was playing, but Kid decided to not play D'Angelo Russell. He's almost always been a DNP CD recently. And this is kind of an intriguing development. The only time recently that he wasn't a DNP CD was in Chicago. And what happened in the first quarter of that game?
Jason Kidd was ejected.
Exactly. And Frank Vogel was the head coach, and he put him in there. But yeah, D'Angelo Russell is not playing. And it's kind of puzzling, especially in games, like I said, where the Mavs are getting blown out. Like, yes, D'Angelo Russell isn't a great fit on this team. Yes, they probably shouldn't have signed him to the deal that they did. but I don't think he's so bad to the point that he should be getting DNP CDs for one of the bottom teams in the Western Conference.
That struggles with point guard play. I've brought this up several times on the show, and several people have commented, like, have you watched him play? He's not playing very good. Like, yeah, I get it. He's not played well this season, but it is weird that the Mavericks are struggling for healthy bodies and just won't even use him at all. Back to media day, he like when we interviewed him, it was brought up like, oh, you'll probably be in a 6-man role when Kyrie comes back, blah, 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 blah. And he did not care for that. He really wanted it to be known, like, hey, I'm here to like prove myself and prove that I'm a starter on this team and prove all that. And now he's not even playing. And that, to go from that at media day to here is such a far drop. And Jason Kidd, when he gives up on a player or like decides that he is not for a player, you can tell. I mean, D'Angelo Russell is the new Christian Wood in my book.
Yeah, he's kind of in the doghouse and there's no way out. And the argument can be made of, yeah, he wasn't playing great, but if you look even at the beginning of the season, like when the Mavs were getting blown out by certain teams, Kidd was playing Caleb Martin like heavy minutes, and he wasn't getting much out of him there. Like, the fact that D'Lo isn't playing at all is just mind-boggling, because at this point, of course, they still need to pick their direction, because who knows if they're going to sell off parts and pack it in, or if they're going to push for a spot in the play-in. Who knows what they're going to do. But I assume that they wouldn't mind trading D'Angelo Russell. That's already been reported. And the fact that they're not even trying to increase his value a little bit, give him 10 minutes a night.
It's a weird one.
It is really weird. And to be honest, I liked his minutes where Kidd let him play off the ball a little bit.
Yeah, that's the other thing that happened with him, is he was played as a point guard, and then he was played solely as the off-ball guard next to Nembhard or Brandon Williams. And then now he's out. Like, that was the progression of Jason Kidd slowly like giving up on D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah, I didn't mind that off-the-ball role. I'm trying to remember what game it was. I'm looking at his game log. Oh, that home win against Denver. He only played 15 minutes, but he made 3 threes, and they won by 1 point. Like, I mean, he was at least giving them a little something off the ball. Of course, that's not his role. He's not a shooting guard. I mean, you know how he plays. But, I mean, I thought he was at least giving them something, and it was allowing others to create for him, rather than him having to just call his own number over and over and over and think to himself that he has to get himself going. It allowed one of Dallas's other creators to get him open, and he could shoot open threes off the catch, rather than him putting the ball between his legs 3 or 4 times before shooting a contested three. Like, he was playing more in the flow of the offense with that off-ball role, and I'd like them to try that a little more. But at this point, I mean, I don't see it happening.
I was gonna say, I expect 0 minutes from D'Angelo Russell for the rest of the season. So go listen to Noah Weber. Go read his stuff on Smoking Cuban. 0 minutes for D'Angelo Russell, but 1,000,000 minutes for Noah Weber. All the stuff that you're creating all the time. So go check out that stuff over there, and go check out the Everydayers Club. Links in the description for that to get ad-free episodes in the Discord. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs. Peace out. Boom.